Every day, millions of people walk past janitors without ever learning their names. They clean floors before sunrise, empty trash bins after everyone has gone home, and quietly disappear into the background. But sometimes, hidden behind a simple uniform is a heart carrying a dream too powerful to stay silent forever. This is the emotional story of a Filipino janitor whose life changed in a single moment when he stood on the America's Got Talent stage and sang Lupang Hinirang. By the end of his performance, thousands of people were standing, tears filled the audience, and even Simon Cowell struggled to hide his emotions. His name was Mateo Santos, a 52-year-old janitor from a small fishing village in the Philippines. Growing up, Mateo had never imagined luxury. His father repaired old fishing boats while his mother sold vegetables in the local market. They worked hard every day just to put food on the table. Life was never easy, but one thing always filled their small wooden home with hope: music. Every Sunday morning, Mateo's father would gather the family before church and sing traditional Filipino songs. The tiny house echoed with voices instead of wealth. They had little money, but they had love. As a young boy, Mateo dreamed of becoming a professional singer. Teachers praised his beautiful voice during school events. Neighbors often stopped outside the family home just to listen as he practiced. People believed he had a gift. But dreams often collide with reality. When Mateo was only 17, his father became seriously ill. Medical bills piled higher than the family could afford. School was no longer possible. Mateo made the painful decision to leave his education behind and work full-time. He promised himself something. One day, I'll come back to my dream. Years passed. One job became another. Construction worker. Warehouse helper. Delivery driver. Factory laborer. Eventually, he accepted work as a janitor because it offered stable income and health insurance. He married the love of his life, Elena, and together they raised 2 children. Every peso Mateo earned went towards school fees, rent, groceries, and helping relatives whenever possible. His dreams slowly faded into the background. Not because he stopped loving music. Because life demanded sacrifice. Every night after finishing work, he quietly sang while cleaning empty hallways. His audience was shiny floors. His applause came from echoes. His microphone was a mop handle. Unknown to everyone around him, Mateo never stopped practicing. Years turned into decades. His children graduated from college because of his sacrifices. His daughter became a nurse. His son became an engineer. They often thanked their father, but Mateo always smiled and said the same words. As long as you have opportunities one never had, I'm happy. One evening, while cleaning the lobby of a hotel, Mateo softly sang Lupang Hinirang, the national anthem of the Philippines. A visiting American music producer happened to hear him. He stopped walking. He turned around. He couldn't believe such a powerful voice was coming from a man pushing a cleaning cart. The producer quietly recorded a short video. Mateo didn't even notice. Days later, the video exploded across social media. Millions watched. Comments poured in from around the world. How is this man not famous? What an incredible voice. This gave me goosebumps. Among those who saw the clip was someone connected to the casting team of America's Got Talent. An invitation arrived. Mateo thought it was fake. He laughed. There must be some mistake. But the phone kept ringing. Finally, someone explained everything. They wanted him to audition. At first, Mateo refused. I'm too old. I don't belong on television. I'm just a janitor. His wife gently held his hands. You've spent your entire life believing other people deserve their dreams more than you. It's finally your turn. His children secretly collected money to help pay for travel documents and expenses. Friends from the neighborhood organized a small fundraiser. People who barely knew him donated. Not because they expected fame. Because they believed kindness deserved a chance. For the first time in his life, Mateo boarded an airplane. Looking through the window, tears rolled down his face. He whispered quietly, "Papa, we're finally chasing our dream." When he arrived in America, everything felt overwhelming. The buildings. The crowds. The cameras. The lights. He looked at the AGT stage and felt incredibly small. Backstage contestants stretched their voices. Some had expensive costumes. Others had dancers. Professional musicians carried instruments worth thousands of dollars. Mateo wore a neatly pressed second-hand suit his son had bought him. He carefully polished his old black shoes the night before. To him, they looked brand new. A producer asked if he felt nervous. He smiled honestly. "I've cleaned buildings larger than this stage. But today I'm cleaning fear from my heart." Soon his name echoed through the theater. "Please welcome Mateo Santos." The audience applauded politely. He slowly walked onto the stage. Simon Cowell smiled. "Hello. What's your name?" "My name is Mateo Santos." "And what do you do?" "I'm a janitor." The audience applauded respectfully. Simon nodded. "How long have you been a janitor?" "Almost 30 years." "What made you decide to audition now?" Mateo paused. His eyes became watery. "For 30 years I cleaned rooms where successful people celebrated their dreams. I wondered if maybe, just maybe, God saved one dream for me." Silence filled the theater. He continued. "My parents taught me that no matter where life takes you, never forget where you come from. So today, I want to honor my country." Simon looked curious. "What are you going to sing?" "Lupang Hinirang." The audience became quiet. Mateo closed his eyes. The first note floated gently through the theater. Immediately, something changed. His voice wasn't simply beautiful. It carried decades of sacrifice. Every word sounded like gratitude. Every note held memories of his parents. Every breath carried years of silent hope. People stopped blinking. The judges leaned forward. The audience forgot they were watching a competition. Instead, they witnessed a lifetime finally finding its voice. Mateo sang not as a performer seeking applause. He sang as a son honoring his homeland. As the anthem grew more powerful, many Filipino audience members placed their hands over their hearts. Some quietly cried. Camera operators later admitted they struggled to keep filming because tears blurred their vision. The final chorus rose higher and higher. His voice filled every corner of the theater. When the last note ended, complete silence. For several long seconds nobody moved. Then one person stood. Another followed. Soon the entire theater erupted into the loudest standing ovation of the night. People screamed. People cried. People hugged complete strangers. The applause continued. Simon Cowell removed his glasses. He looked down. He rubbed his eyes. When he finally spoke, his voice sounded different. "I've judged thousands of auditions. But every once in a while, someone reminds us why this show exists." He paused again, fighting emotion. "You weren't trying to impress us. You simply shared your heart. And that's something money can't buy." The audience cheered again. Sofia Vergara wiped away tears. She smiled warmly. "You made everyone feel proud, even those of us who aren't Filipino." Howie Mandel shook his head in amazement. "You've proven that greatness doesn't wear expensive clothes. Hearts recognize hearts." Heidi Klum smiled through tears. "I'll never forget this performance." Simon leaned toward Mateo. "You've spent 30 years cleaning buildings. Today, you cleaned every heart in this room." The audience exploded once more. Mateo could barely speak. He whispered into the microphone. My parents always told me that dignity isn't measured by your job. It's measured by your character. They were right. At that exact moment, golden confetti exploded from above. The theater erupted. Mateo looked upward in disbelief. Golden pieces floated around him like tiny stars. He dropped to his knees. He covered his face. Years of pain, sacrifice, disappointment, and hope poured out in uncontrollable tears. His wife ran onto the stage. His children followed. The family embraced beneath a shower of gold. The audience stood clapping for several minutes. Back home in the Philippines, neighbors gathered around televisions inside small homes, restaurants, schools, and community centers. Entire villages celebrated. Social media overflowed with messages. People weren't simply talking about a singing competition. They were talking about hope. Within days, interviews flooded in. Music producers offered recording contracts. Concert invitations arrived. But Mateo never forgot where he came from. His very first paycheck after the show wasn't spent on luxury. Instead, he returned to his hometown and funded scholarships for children from struggling families. He donated musical instruments to public schools. He helped renovate community centers. He also surprised the janitorial staff at the hotel where he once worked. One morning, they arrived to discover every employee receiving financial bonuses and handwritten thank you letters signed personally by Mateo. He wrote, "Never believe your uniform defines your worth. The world may overlook you today, but your kindness, honesty, and hard work are building a future you cannot yet see." Years later, whenever reporters asked what it felt like to become famous, Mateo always smiled with the same humble answer. "I was never chasing fame. I was chasing the chance to honor my parents. And somehow, that became enough." His story spread across countries because people recognized themselves in him. Not everyone dreams of becoming SI.